everybody, just wanted to jump on and talk about a podcast that I listened to, probably back in January, that I've been thinking a lot about, especially in the February doldrums. It has been very gray around here, and it makes it a little more difficult to feel happy. But the podcast that I listen to is the Model Health Show. I love this podcast because it has a wide range of topics, everything from mental health, emotional health, physical health, and just everything in between. It's super interesting. This was episode 388, and it's talking about wiring your brain for happiness, and basically how happiness is a habit and it's a choice. And he gave 7 ways to encourage happiness that I thought were really good. So I thought I would share just quickly about those, and then you can go look up this podcast and listen to it. I highly recommend all of it, all the episodes. He's talked about everything from gut health to mental sharpness to how to fight mental aging, he talks about all sorts of things and has amazing guests on his show. So I highly recommend it. But getting back to cultivating happiness, one of the first one was cultivating humor and smiling more, having a positive attitude. Basically finding the humor in things that typically you wouldn't find very humorous. Just intentionally finding humor in situations. When something annoys you, figure out what is humorous about it. Telling funny and embarrassing stories about yourself. He said that happiness lights up certain areas of our brain that otherwise don't get lit up that often. The second thing was doing things that bring you happiness, and he encouraged encouraged us to make a list of the things that bring happiness. And I think a lot of times we don't intentionally think about, well, what is it that makes me happy? And a few of the things that I wrote down was, I love to cook dinner and have a glass of red wine, and make it an experience, especially if I'm cooking, if I'm just cooking for me and Chris. It, kind of turns it into a date night. I love to play games. I love to read. I like spending time with my girlfriends and going on girls' trips. So really intentionally sitting down, and I numbered 1 through 12. And as I think of things through the last few weeks, I've just gone and jotted it down, because I'm not one of those people that can come up with 12 things off the bat. It takes me a little bit of time to think. So if something pops in my mind, I'll go back to that list and jot it down. And it's going to be an ongoing list. So that when, I'm really feeling like blah, I can go look at that list and say, you know what, I'm going to do this because this makes me happy. Even if I don't feel like it at the time. Number 3 was invest in your health. Making sure you are sleeping well, eating well, exercising, doing the things that are healthy for you. Sorry, I feel like I've got this one little hair. Doing things that are healthy, even if you don't feel like doing them. Number 4 was dwelling on past happiness. What was a really happy, positive experience that you had? What were some positive experiences that shaped me? And write down those experiences. Go back and, just in detail, write down. That could be the birth of a child. It could be your wedding day. It could be graduating from college, starting a business, whatever the positive experience was write it down and reflect on those things. Number 5, highlighting strengths rather than weaknesses. I think we all tend to focus on what we're not good at, but writing down the things that I do well. And he suggested writing down 10 strengths. So once again, I have this list of 10 things, and I am only on 8. But some of my strengths that I wrote down is I have always had the ability to teach myself. If I want to know something, I'll learn it. And I've done that many times through my life. I'm compassionate. I am resilient. I am a student. I love to learn. I think I'm witty. So, those were just some things that I wrote down. And once again, I need to fill out that list. And so I have it here, and I can just go back, and as I think, I really am good at this. I could put, I'm a great resume writer. You need your resume written? Give it to me, because I'm really good at it. Number 6, practice gratitude. And we hear this all the time, but it is so true. Practicing gratitude, it reduces stress hormones. It increases happy-related hormones. It changes the hormonal cascade in the body. I mean, there are physiological benefits to gratitude. Robert, he talked about this on the podcast. Robert Emmons, professor of psychology, I forget where, says gratitude works because it allows individuals to celebrate the present and be active participants in their own lives by valuing and appreciating friends and family, oneself, situations, and circumstances. It focuses the mind on what an individual already has instead of something that's absent and needed. It reminds us of how fortunate, I wrote this, it reminds me of how fortunate I am, or how blessed I am. So that daily practice of gratitude. And then number 7, changing your language, thinking about my response in day-to-day interactions. Ease up on complaining. The cure, I found this interesting, the cure for critiquing and complaining is complimenting. How often do we just have these little tiny complaints? And so really focusing on finding ways to compliment others instead of criticizing them. So anyway, that was that episode on Cultivating Happiness. Once again, episode number 388 of the Model Health Show. I highly recommend it. Certainly go find that podcast and have a listen. I will talk to you guys later. Bye now.